Good Erev Pesach, everybody. This is Midrash Tzav. The Midrash seems to be pointing out something that seems unfair. The Midrash says that because the Jewish people gave the karbanot of shlamim from the word shalom, which makes peace between Kadosh Baruch Hu and the Jewish people, and peace between the person giving it and the Kadosh Baruch Hu and the Kohen, everyone is happy. So because of that, Hashem shows favoritism to the Jewish people. The only thing is, non-Jews are not allowed to offer the shlamim. So it seems unfair that since non-Jews can't offer it, God can't show favoritism to them and only to the Jewish people. That's the question of the Midrash. So there's two answers given. Number one, very simple, the non-Jews are involved in avodah zarah. And, once you are denying God's existence and you're assigning the powers of God to an inanimate object, so God can't show favoritism. Second answer is where it gets interesting. The Midrash says that the reason God shows favor to Jewish people is because the Jewish people show favoritism to God. How so? In the following scenario, you have a very poor family with 5 or 6 kids, and the whole family is eating from one small loaf of bread, and yet they bench. They say Birkat HaMazon. So that favoritism is something that God feels he has to return the favor, so to speak, and show favoritism to the Jewish people. Now the Meforshim say, what does it mean? What's the essence of this? Well, they take an essential pasuk from benching, which is also the essential pasuk according to the Gemara of Ashrei, which is Poseches Yadecha Maspil Chocha Ratzon, and this really illuminates what exactly is going on here. It's actually a very difficult pasuk. We don't even know if it's a observation, a supplication. Are we saying, God, please, Poseches Yadecha, please open your hands and feed everyone? Or is it a statement of fact? That's what God does. In any case, the interesting part is the last words, Waspia l'chol chai ratzon. It's often translated that every living thing is supported, but that's not what the word ratzon means. And the Meforshim bring in 2 different ways of looking at ratzon. One, of course, we have to make our ratzon the same as God's ratzon, and we have to make our will God's will. And so these people, even though they had very little to eat, did not hold anything against God, just the opposite. They had gratitude for what they had. And that's what reflected in the word ratzon, that they understood that this is God's will. And this leads into the second meaning of ratzon, meaning Hashem runs the world. And although we are asking God to open the tzinor, this special pipe to bring more shefa down from Shamayim and have more parnasah, but still we know that God runs the world, and there's a big sort of facade that everything looks like that we accomplish in this world is based on what we do and our skills and our efforts and our perseverance, but it's really a smokescreen in order to preserve free will, and it all comes from God. So that also is subsumed into the word ratzon. So in conclusion, the 2 answers that the Midrash gives, number 1, avodah zarah, and number 2, that people show favoritism to God and God shows favoritism back, really are the same answer. Because if you, as I said, think that everything that you acquired in this world comes from your own skills, kochi u'etzem yadi, then that's avodah zarah. You're not realizing how the world works. But if you do realize it, if you're showing this ratzon, which means that you understand that in the world everything is just in order to make it look like things happen in nature, but it's actually trying to preserve free will and everything. God is really running the show. That's how you're showing favoritism. That's what's represented in that story of the people benching, even though the family large family was sharing a small loaf of bread, that's ratzon, and because of that favoritism and that knowledge and that acknowledgement and that much gratitude, then Hashem wants to show favoritism back. Have a great Shabbos. Have a healthy, happy, kosher Chag Sameach.